Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a good one for you today. Got an image up there. When I hover over it, it's going to blur out and some text and a little icons are going to come in. When we take the mouse off, it's going to get back into focus again. Same with the one over here. I've got a bit more of a blur on that background image though. And you can also use it anywhere else you want. I've got it on a full width section here. I've just got it blurring out the background for that one. Really easy to do. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. I'm going to add a new little row. Little green button to add a row. I'm going to use a single column in mine. And you can use any module you want. I use the blurb module for that one. I use the call to action down below. Let's pop in a little blurb module. There it is right there. If you're using a blurb module, you've got to bear in mind blurb modules have a fixed width of about 550 pixels. If you go over to design and down to sizing, that's where you'll find it right there. I'm going to make mine 100%, 100 and the percent sign. That'll make it fill all of the available space there, which is what I want for mine, because the shape of your module actually dictates the shape of the image that's going to be behind it, because we're using the image as a background there. So let's go back to our content now. Obviously put in whatever title you want there, whatever content you want in there. Image and icon, I'm going to use an icon I believe today, so I'm going to hit the little switch for use icon. And let's just use any icon there, that's fine. That's great. I want to kind of move everything into the middle here. So going over to design, down to text, which will do both the title and the body text. I'm going to move it into the middle. I kind of want to change everything of mine into a light color, which is going to make it disappear into the background. So let's put this there. I'll make it a light in color. As you can see, it's disappeared onto the white background there. So let's go back over to our content tab and down to background. I'll put in a simple blue background so we can see what's going on here. Great. Well, like I mentioned earlier, the shape of the module dictates how much of the image that you're going to see there. For instance, I've got a full width one down here. So you're only going to see this much of it on this one. So to make it more image-like, I'm going to add a bit of padding top, bottom, left and right. So back over to our design tab, we can do that in spacing. Let's try 100 top. And if you hit the chain, it'll do the bottom as well. Yeah, I think I'd like to see a little bit more on the bottom. So let's uncheck the chain, because I don't want to do both of them. I'll do 50 on the bottom there. That's great. And let's do 100 left and right. That's going to work for me, I believe. Okay, obviously adjust yours, whatever works for you. So now we've got the basic shape that we want there. Let's take that background color away. And it will all disappear. But now we can actually put the image in that we want to use for the background. Because we're going to use a blur on it and we want to be able to see the text on the front here, we've got to use a bit of CSS. So over in the advanced custom CSS, in the before box, and don't panic, I've written all this code for you. I've got it right here. And just to walk you through it, as we're using the before pseudo element, we've got to put some content in there. You don't need to change that. I had to make it absolute. I'm having it start from the top left. I'm giving it a width and a height of 100%, so it'll cover the whole of our module. Now the background image right here, let's just take this away so it doesn't confuse you. That's a URL of the image that I want to put in there. Let's delete that. That's fine. And I'll put a little explainer there, replace with your image URL, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in a moment. Background size, I want the image to cover our module, whatever size it happens to be on whatever device. Now I've got a filter on there with blur, but I've not got any blur on it. As you can see, initially no blur, that's why it's set to 0 there. And then we've got a transition timer there, and it's going to do the filter, 1 second ease in, ease out. We've got a z-index of -1 to make sure that it's placed the blurred image below the content there. And I'll show you this other bit in a minute. When we hover on it, it's going to blur to 10 pixels. But let's make this happen. So I'm going to grab it from the sea of content all the way down to the end of that last comment there. You don't actually have to have the comments if you don't want to. Control C to copy. I'm going to go over to our little before box over here, put my cursor in there, Control V to paste. Great. Well, as you can see, or as you can't see, you still can't see anything because there's no image in there. And when I took that URL out just there, we've got background image URL, replaced with your image URL. Two little inverted commas there. Right between them is where you want to put your URL. Now for anybody that doesn't know how to get the URL of your image, go to your dashboard, down to your media library, and we'll upload the image that we want to put in there. Then if you simply click on it, it'll open it in a new window. You've got the file URL right there. There's a little button to copy URL to clipboard, or you can select it, copy, however you like to do yours. When you're happy, come back here. Remember, go in between the two little inverted commas there and paste. And there it is behind our little blurb module there. Great, well when we hover over it, we want it to blur so we can read this writing a lot better. And what we'll do is we'll make this logo and writing disappear until we hover over it as well. But let's firstly do the blur effect itself. So common to all Divi modules, if you hover over the dark writing within a module, you'll see some little icons appear. In the before box, hover over it, hit the little arrow. We can now set different values for desktop when the mouse is not on it, and hover when the mouse is on it. So when the mouse is on it, click on the little arrow there, the hover box. I want it to blur out. And I've got the apply blur on hover right here. And again, that's down below. Paste this in the hover box right here. And you can see it's blurred it out, but it's left the writing nice and legible there. And you can blur it out as much or as little as you want. I've got that set to 10 pixels. Because that's a brighter sort of image, I might blur it out a little bit more so you can read that writing even better. Let's change that to a crazy amount, say 25 pixels. And as you can see, that really blurs it out. But you can read that writing nicely. So I think I'll leave mine just like that. But we've got a little bit of a problem here. Or it may not be a problem, you may like the effect. But it's kind of spilling out of our module here because the blur is sort of spilling out, making it look soft around the edges. That's an easy fix, still in our advanced, still in the blurb module. Let's close up custom CSS, roll down to visibility, and we've got horizontal and vertical overflow. Let's change both of these from default to hidden, and you can see tidies that up nicely. That's, like I say, unless you like that particular effect. Okay, so there we are on the hover state. We can read that nicely. The background's blurred out. If we go back to desktop state, the image comes back in nice and sharp. But I'd like to not have the writing or the icon there. If you do, that's fine. Just stop here and you're good to go. That's what I did basically down below here with that call to action module. So let's roll this back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the icon. You can hit the little paintbrush. Icon color. I've made it white. It was white already, but I'm going to click on the actual color field itself here. We've got a variegated slider. And up here, look, we've got our little arrow again. And if it's not there, just hover over it, it'll appear. So I've got it that white color on desktop. I'm going to take the opacity all the way down so it disappears. When it's hovered over, I'm going to bring it all the way back up again so we can see it. I'm going to do exactly the same for our title. Hit the little paintbrush, it takes you right to it. Hover over, get the little arrow up. I'm going to make it white in color. Click on the little white button there. Variegated slider. Desktop mode. Don't want to see it. And hover mode. It's back up there again. Desktop mode. It's gone. Great. And last but not least, we'll do the text itself. We'll hit that little paintbrush again. Get up the little hover state. Color white. Desktop mode. Don't need to see that. Hover mode. We'll bring it back. Great. Now the time it takes to get for this and this with our CSS, I've got it set to 1 second. If I bring that code back up, if you want to slow yours down or speed it up, I've got mine set to filter 1 second right there. You can put in 0.5 seconds or whatever it is works for you. I'll leave mine at 1, but I'm going to match mine in my blurb module here so that the icon and text comes in at a similar rate. So over to the advanced again, we can go down to our transitions here. There's the default 300 mils. I want a whole second. You can either type it in or you can slide it up to 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. And I'm going to leave it just exactly like that. Okay, well, let's save our changes now. We'll save our page changes. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And we'll roll on down. There's our initial ones up there. Here's the one we've just created. When I hover over, it's going to blur out and that writing's going to come in. When we take our mouse off, it's going to do the opposite. And of course I've done the same down below here, but I just haven't taken the writing and button away when they hover over it, so it's still there. And I've just made that row full width to create the full width effect there. Well, that's a great little feature, and you can apply it to all type of different things to create some awesome effects. So there you go, guys. It's how to create a blurred background on hover with a text overlay. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video like this one. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.